Hey, it's Erika. Happy Monday. I hope everybody had a great weekend. We certainly had a packed one at our house, and I wanted to talk about one of my favorite subjects today, and it has to do with the power of belief and the power of hope in the healing process. So much of my work, as many of you have seen, has been really focused on the physical side of health. So are we getting enough nutrients? How does the body process things? How do we get ourselves healthier physically? But so much of my training and background is actually on the mind-body-spirit connection. So I've trained in so many disciplines relating to that. And I don't talk about it as often, but to me it's such a vitally important piece of the puzzle. So here's what we're going to talk about today. There is, as I'm sure you know, it's October, it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And in fact, I just got off the phone with a dear friend of mine today whose mom is facing a decision relating to cancer. And, obviously there's a lot of fear around that. And he was really asking me, like, what do you think? So I wanted to do this video today and just share what is such an important part of somebody's healing journey, and that is the power of belief and the power of the mind. Now, there is a book that I highly recommend if you are, it's fascinating, this book, but if you're a medical professional especially, I think it's a really good book to read. It's called Mind Over Medicine. It's by Lisa Rankin. She's a medical doctor. Scientific Proof That You Can Heal Yourself. And so this is a really interesting book, and I'm going to share some of the stories from this book because I think it's going to open people's eyes to the power of what I'm discussing. So we've all heard of the placebo effect, right? We know that if somebody's taking a treatment and they believe that it's helping them, then they're likely to get a benefit because they believe they're taking something that's going to help them. And so often when I talk to people about their health, I've had this conversation so many times where somebody says, should I do this treatment, or should I go this route, or should I go this route? And my answer to them is always, pick a route and be confident in what you're doing. Don't sit in the mushy middle and kind of doubt it, wonder if it's going to be the right one. Don't be wishy-washy. And whether you go the naturopathic route or whether you go the pharmaceutical route and the medical route, Western med, allopathic medical route, or if you do a combination, whatever path you choose, have conviction and faith that it's the right thing for you. And that's going to be different for every person. So let me tell you some stories. These are so fascinating to me. So in this book, it's a collection of a lot of these. She's basically trying to figure out and understand the placebo effect. So for example, there was this really famous study done, and this sounds totally wacky, but I'm going to start with the wackiest story ever because it's so out there. So there was this doctor who had pioneered a knee surgery, and he was getting really good results with people with a certain type of knee pain. And this is actually a study that was written up in the New England Journal of Medicine, pretty much the most prestigious medical journal out there. So this gentleman did a study on his surgery, where what he did is he took a bunch of people that needed to get knee surgery to help their knee pain, and he divided them into two groups. One group got his famous surgery, and the second group was basically a control group, where what he did is he took these people and put together basically a fake surgery. He sedated them. He actually had like a screen up that showed a knee surgery happening, but it was just a video of a previous surgery. He even had like little water sounds that he played so the person thought they were having this knee surgery. And so he even like added some stitches and some all that in their knees so that they thought that they had had the knee surgery. And here's the interesting thing. So 30% of the people that had the surgery had resolution of their knee pain. So that's really successful when you're doing this type of thing. But here's the crazy thing is 30% of the people that had the fake surgery also had complete resolution of their knee pain. So there was no difference in the resolution of knee pain for the people that actually had the surgery compared to the people that thought they had the surgery. So I think that's a pretty incredible example of the fact that the power of the mind. Now here's another example, another story. So there was a study they did with asthmatics, and they bunched them into different groups. This is also from the New England Journal of Medicine. So what they did is they gave some of the asthmatics, they gave them the inhaler, the albuterol. The second one, they gave them a fake inhaler. So an inhaler, but it didn't actually have any of the albuterol in it. The third group got no treatment whatsoever. And the fourth one got, oh, sorry. No, they did get treatment. The third group got acupuncture, and the fourth group got fake acupuncture. So they thought they were getting acupuncture. So we've got getting the inhaler, getting a fake inhaler, getting acupuncture, and getting fake acupuncture. And here's the crazy thing. There was 50% improvement in their asthma symptoms across the board. So 50% across the board. It didn't matter whether they got the medicine or they didn't get the medicine, but they thought they were getting the treatment. So that's super, super powerful. And then there's another one. This is really interesting. This is, again, some of the stuff that's discussed in this book is fascinating. How about the attitude of the caregiver makes a real difference in a patient's ability to heal and recover from things. And they did a study that was in Harvard Medical School did this study, also in the New England Journal of Medicine, where what they did is they had anesthesiologists prior to surgery go in and talk to the patients. The first group of anesthesia, and it were the same anesthesiologists doing this, by the way. So there was half the time they'd go in and they were really kind and nurturing and positive and saying, oh, this is going to be no problem. You're going to have a great recovery. You're going to have a great result. Don't worry about it. This is going to be fabulous. And then to the other group, what they did is they were grumpy and they didn't really talk to the people very much and they were just very hurried. And here's the results of, and they were the same anesthesiologists that kind of were acting in each group to act differently. So it wasn't a difference in their personality as much. And here's the numbers. The people that had the positive caregivers had half of the need for pain medication than the group that had the grumpy anesthesiologist come in. So they needed half of the amount of pain medication, which means they were feeling better. And they were discharged from the hospital after their surgeries 2.6 days earlier than the people that had the grumpy caretakers. So it's not even just your own mindset, but it's also the power of the caregivers. That's why I think anybody who's in the medical professional needs to read this. Medical profession and healing professions, everybody needs to read this because it's so important. And now on the other side of this is the other thing, is that we know the placebo effect. That means if you think something's going to help you, it has a high chance of helping you. The same is true in reverse. So imagine if you think you're doing something or think something bad's going to happen by taking a certain treatment. Guess what's going to happen? Hi, John. Nice to see you. Glad you're here. So imagine, so there was this part of this also, this particular book, there was a study that was referred to where they had an experimental chemotherapy drug. So what they do when they get clinical trials is they always, if they get patients that are going to want to try an experimental drug. Now, obviously that's part of getting their approval to become an approved drug. So they have to go through the clinical trials where they always give one group the actual experimental drug and the other group gets a placebo. It's just the way that it works. So in this particular trial for the chemotherapy drug, the experimental chemotherapy drug, there was of the people that got the fake chemo, meaning they were injected with saline instead of with the chemotherapy drug, 30% of them lost their hair, because they believed they were getting chemo, and they know that when you get chemotherapy, your hair falls out. So it works in the opposite as well. So if you're doing something that you're not sure about, maybe your family or your caretakers are trying to get you to do a certain treatment or go a certain way, and it doesn't feel right to you, whatever that is, listen to you, because if you do something that you're resistant to, it's not going to be nearly as helpful. And I have a dear family member that I've had this conversation with who is kind of straddling the fence, like wanting to his heart really wants to go with more supporting the body to heal itself, but then he's getting told some pretty scary stuff, not even really scary stuff, but just, no, this is just the way it is. There's no other way to do it. And he's mixed. He's tried this stuff, the healthier stuff, and gotten really good results. But then, of course, hearing from over this side that there's a different way, he gets a little confused. And I say, listen, whichever way you choose, please, please, please just totally have conviction in it. Whether you go the allopathic route or the naturopathic route or a combination of the two. Whatever you do, find a way to get confident in the what the path is you're choosing. So anyway, I hope that is interesting, because I know for me, I mean, so much of the healing process really is faith and knowing that you're going to be healed. And here's an amazing thing too, is many people know Wayne Dyer passed about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and he had leukemia, and he had gone through a lot of things to get healed from leukemia that were a lot of like faith healing, energy healing, things like that. He's all this stuff. And so the amazing thing is, when he did pass a year ago, there was no trace of cancer left in his body whatsoever. And I actually have an interview with Wayne Dyer and Bruce Lipton, who's one of my mentors. I love his work so much, that I have on my website. Maybe I'll post the link below. But it's really an important factor, and I can't keep coming on here and doing videos about the physical side of health without talking and giving justice to the other side of health as well. So let me know if this has been helpful. If you have any questions, if you want to share it with somebody that maybe is struggling right now, there is so much hope. In fact, on Saturday here in San Diego, I'm going to be giving a talk to raise money for cancer prevention, because I believe there's so much hope and so much we can do to prevent, as opposed to getting into the fear of everything. And we know people that have struggled with this horrible disease. And my mission is truly to be someone who's empowering and inspiring hope. So if you know anybody who might need to hear this today, please do send it along. And again, the book is called Mind Over Medicine, just one of many that I've read around this, but I figured I'd share this because it had some really cool stories in it that I could share with you today. So hope you guys are great, and we'll see you next time. Bye.